We've lived here 47 years and it means everything to us. My kids come home and we don't have $1 million home like I told you earlier, but we got $1 million memories, more than $1 million memories. This pipeline is supposed to come down this hill and right across 42 here, right over in my phlox bed. The center of the pipeline is 62 feet from my kitchen window.
How does that make y'all feel?
Devastated. Nothing that is man-made is perfect. And I would always be afraid, my children out there, because that's where they play, they hide Easter eggs and they all go out there and make pictures, and I would always be afraid what would happen if that pipeline exploded in them there.
So, just a quick summary, the EQT Corporation wants to build this pipeline to get their fracked natural gas from their fields about 303 miles from West Virginia through Virginia. It's a 42-inch pipeline. Nothing this size has ever come through here. It would be an ugly swath full of erosion. And instead of seeing mountains, trees, beautiful vistas, we would see a permanent scar and a permanent danger. And they would take this, contaminate their water, and pretend that this is for their good. And the reality is there is no economic benefit for us. It's all cost. Lost property tax values, lost tourist revenues. For the counties that it goes through here in Virginia, a total of approximately $8 billion over the life of the pipeline would be lost. Not to mention what you can't put a price on, peace of mind. This is making people sick. It's basically taking a pristine area, one of the most beautiful sections of the Appalachian Trail in our opinion, and turning it into a permanent industrial site, which would have underneath it buried poison under pressure, which if it failed is capable of starting a huge forest fire and contaminating the water on both sides of Peters Mountain.
A lot of people don't understand that the Appalachian Trail is a unit of the national park system and preserved just like Yellowstone or Yosemite or something like that. And I think that if a company was proposing to put a 42-inch pipeline across Yellowstone, they would be required to have an accurate map of Yellowstone and to really approach that pretty thoughtfully. That's not the case. That's not what happened here. The information has come out in such a confusing and bewildering way. People don't have access to it. I mean, when you think about the 20,000 pages that have come out since the close of the comment period, it makes me think, like, is this the company that we want constructing a pipeline carrying of explosive liquid under people's homes and things? We want somebody who's pretty thorough doing that stuff. And I just think if you didn't even bother to get the right map of the Appalachian Trail or understand what federally designated wilderness was before you drew a line on a map, what does that mean for the construction and maintenance of the pipeline?
So the amazing thing about this pipeline is that it's been able to unite people who cannot agree on anything else. In Craig County, which we're very close to right now, they had their Board of Supervisors election last fall. And the two new members of the Board of Supervisors are Tea Party Republicans, and they each had two signs in their yard. One sign was Trump and Pence, and the other sign was no pipeline. So, in essence, this company has been able to unite the Tea Party with the greenest environmentalists, the most left-wing Democrats. And it's really easy to understand, after all. Because here we have a private company that wants to use the federal power of eminent domain to take away people's private property to build a pipeline that we don't even need.
The Adley Jones family farmlands consist of about 700 acres back in the early 1900s. The pipelines could be laid 300 to 400 foot of my great-grandfather's house. It means a lot to me. When I was a little guy, I'd come up here and stay with my granny and just run all over these mountains. We didn't have to work it as kids, but we did help them in the gardens and stuff, but we didn't have to physically work it like they had to. So that's why it's so meaningful for my dad. He had to work these lands. The pipeline's slated to come through right there in that clearing. They're gonna come in here and cut 125 foot of all our old growth trees out. I mean, it's gonna be a nasty scar, and all that runoff water has nowhere to go but in sinkholes, and who knows where else, in people's wells. So we tried to educate the surveyors. I tell them straight up, first thing I tell them is, all right, people, y'all are legal trespassers. We don't want you on our property. You're more than welcome to come and ask me to come onto the property, and I'd love to show it to you, but not like this. You know, if this pipeline comes through, if they can start taking our property, then they can take yours.
And not for the common good, for whatever a private business interest is, as long as they have enough money to buy it.
We need to start looking at our water. We have dirty water everywhere. We have pure, clean water up here. Why are we gonna let this company risk taking that away? You can't buy that. You cannot buy it. I hope we can rally some people. It takes a movement of people to understand what is happening to us and what can happen to them. People have to get involved, make their governors know, say, hey, this isn't right.
Write letters to everybody that can read. Write letters in support of us, because I would try to do that for them. And don't forget to pray and thank God for everything that He does do.
At this point, I think the most powerful things that we can do is to let our elected officials know at the state and national levels that this is not healthy for us, it's not necessary, and there are better solutions. I think our legislators and our courts, when they understand the full problems here, can help us. And they'll only do it if they hear from us as citizens of the United States. My hope is it stays just how it is right now. This sound, these sights, these people on their land. And we will do everything to stop it.